presidential candidate, Dr. Ramphela Ramphele. A very good evening to you and thank you for joining us. First off, let's start with something that's become a bone of contention, your name. Would you help South Africans say your name properly?
Starting with you, Babarashni, let me say my first name is Mamphela Ramphele.
Ramphele.
So I hope, yes, Mamphela Ramphele. I hope my fellow citizens will be able to say that rhyming name.
Thank you for clearing that up. I'm sure many will appreciate that. Now, what would you say to many cynics out there that are saying that this move smacks of opportunism, that this is a survival tactic on your part?
You know, when Madiba was negotiating with the National Party in the 80s, he was regarded as a sellout even by his own comrades. He had to ask for a single cell to be able to continue the negotiations. God help us to think of what would have happened had he been browbeaten into not exploring the unknown. Leaders in every epoch in the history of humankind have to take the plunge. I entered party politics not because I want to be this or the other thing. I had no ambition to be a politician. I'm in this as a freedom fighter, as someone who truly cares for the future of the country. And I believe South Africans together can do much more. I believe that Arang and DA together will do much more than the sum of the parts. That's the reason behind this decision.
In your latest book, you went on to allude to the fact that your son wouldn't associate with the DA, he wouldn't vote for the DA. The DA hasn't changed as a party, but you've changed your mind. Why have you changed your mind and why now?
I wish you wouldn't repeat what other journalists are saying, because it is not true that the DA has not changed, and I haven't changed my mind. I told South Africans last year when we launched Arang that we will continue to talk to all parties that share our commitment to the principles of our Constitution, to find a way forward so we can transcend the politics of division, identity politics that are reducing our capacity to be this great nation that we can be. And that's what we have done. This is the culmination of work that has been going on for more than a year.
What will you bring to the DA? What type of value do you think you would add to the Democratic Alliance?
We are bringing the strength of Arang and its reach in the rural periphery of South Africa, the enthusiasm on the ground of people who have been able to build an organization with very little, against all odds. On the other hand, the DA is bringing its established machinery because they are a much older party than us. We also have to remember that South Africa has always been better together. To bring Arang and its enthusiasm, its committed volunteers with an established machinery of the DA is what this country needs today.
If you say your party has that enthusiasm,
5 more years.
Sorry if I can interject there. If you say your party has that type of enthusiasm, that you're doing well in rural areas, that you're that strong, why not go the fight alone? Why join the DA? Why not do it on your own?
Because the prize is winning the next election. This is not the time to be carving up empires for all little parties and parties that cannot take us over the line. 5 more years of ANC corruption, which even stops them from releasing their list today. because there are so many of their officials who are absolutely steeped in corrupt activities. This is the party that tells us that they are not going to have corrupt people in public office.
If past voting patterns are anything to go by, if we look at past voting patterns, you're probably not going to be elected president in this upcoming election. Are you going to be happy just being a DA MP?
Why must we be going by past record? This is a new era. This is a post-Madiba era. This is an era where the ANC is in disarray. It has lost NUMSA. Kusato is in disarray. There is no ANC Youth League. Why must we be thinking in terms of continuity of the past into the future? We as South Africans have to learn to raise our eye above the constraints.
Let's quickly talk about the ANC. Gwede Mantashe today at a press briefing said that they're not concerned about you being the DA's presidential candidate because they said in the first place Ahang SA was stillborn, and they're saying now they're accusing the DA of rent-a-black, rent-a-leader, saying they needed you to be the face of their party. Your response to that?
I'm not going to respond to people who have no right to make any moral judgment because their own performance today in failing to release a list of who are their public representatives, they must clean up their act. We are in the business of building the future of this country. The DA, together with Ahang is alive and well and active in all areas where we have put our focus. As I speak to you, young Ahang volunteers are celebrating in our office in Braamfontein. This is the future. I'm the bridge between my generation that fought for freedom and the young people who want to build the country of our dreams. That's the focus. That's what's motivating me.
I would imagine that a lot of negotiations took place before this decision was made.
Of course, there's always negotiations, and there will be more negotiations going forward because we have agreed the principle. We now have to see how we leverage the strengths of the two organizations to build something larger than the sum of the two parts.
You say Ahang SA is alive and well. In what capacity? What happens to those people who believed in you and who followed Ahang SA? Are you going to leave them to choose where they should go, or are you going to absorb those people into the DA?
It's not a question of absorbing. I think people should listen to what is being announced. We announced coming together, and we announced forming a technical committee to look at how we leverage the strengths of Ahang and of the DA to build something larger than the sum of the parts.
For the sake of clarity,
Ahang is active in areas where very few other political parties are
Just finally, for the sake of clarity, is this a merger? Is it an integration? Many are saying you'll become like the ID, you've been swallowed up by the DA.
We announced a coming together. We are not the ID, we are not anything, we are Ahang. And we are in the business of building the country of our dreams. And I'm doing this as the bridge between my generation that fought for freedom and the generation of leaders who are going to be able to help us transcend this them and us, these politics of divisions. We are larger than that. We only need to dare to look beyond the now. Stop driving by looking at the rear mirror. Look forward, and that's where the greatness of South Africa lies.
Thank you very much for your time and your insight. That was Dr. Mamphela Ramphele.